now for the political buzz. Glenn Beck is a nationally syndicated radio talk show host. He's based in my hometown of Philadelphia. His new book is called The Real America, Messages from the Heart and Heartland. Glenn, thanks for joining us. I'm glad to see that somebody finally woke up and calls Philadelphia the Heartland. Is that your view?
Yeah, I think the Heartland can be in any city in America. I think we saw the Heartland happen in New York City on 9/11. I think we saw it during the blackouts when people treated each other with respect and dignity and honor and helped each other out, just what you expect to see in the Heartland. It can really happen in Los Angeles, it can happen in San Francisco, Philadelphia, and New York.
Well, let me talk to you about what happened last night. You probably watched part of the show. We were live from the beach for 6 hours watching it.
Was it a coincidence that there was a circus behind you?
No, that was the pier. That was called the Santa Monica Pier, which was nice enough to keep the Ferris wheel lights on the whole time the show was on, to give us a certain, certain backdrop we were looking for. Let me ask you about you as a Republican. I should say as a conservative man in this country.
Thank you.
Of strong philosophy. Were you entirely comfortable defending the Schwarzenegger candidacy?
No, not at all.
Tell me about it.
I found it absolutely amazing that the parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, swited lines.
Yeah, well, explain that. Explain that.
Back in the 1990s, everybody was saying, the Republicans were saying character matters. Where there's smoke, there's fire, etc., etc. And the Democrats were saying, no, it's the economy, stupid. Don't worry about this. Let's concentrate. Let him get his job done, etc., etc. Somehow or another, they switched places overnight.
Well, you know why? Let's be a little cynical here. Why'd they switch places?
Partisan politics. It's all about the elephant and the donkey. That's all that matters. It's all about winning. People forget, somehow or another, I think conservatives have intertwined the concept of being a conservative with being a Republican. You don't have to be a Republican and a conservative. Right. The Republican Party, just like the Democratic Party, what that is built to do is to win elections. There are many conservatives, and I think the majority of conservatives and liberals, that don't want to just win elections. They want to win them on principle. They want to win them and further their own ideas and ideals. The parties themselves are just trying to win elections, and I think that's why Arnold Schwarzenegger won. I think that's why he is now the governor, is because people saw him, and it wasn't about the elephant, it wasn't about the donkey, it was about, look, this guy is not a part of partisan politics. He's just an average Joe. Well, an average Joe that happens to have a
strong guy too. They think he's strong too. Right. That's for sure. They think he can break it. According to the poll data we got, I mentioned it elsewhere in the show, that something like 8 out of 10 people, 4 out of 5 people believe that he can do the job when he gets there. No other candidate enjoyed that kind of trust. Let me ask you about what bothers me. It's not just that both parties, or each party, switched sides and said, character doesn't mean anything, character means something. They switched roles on that with regard to Schwarzenegger and Clinton. It's they even used each other's tactics. The Republicans
switched scripts.
Right.
It was the same line.
The Republicans defending Schwarzenegger said, oh, we don't believe the evidence. These women aren't to be trusted. They didn't go on the record. And then they also said it's a long time ago.
Right.
And they don't like the media. Why'd the media bring this up? It's exactly what happened last time.
I had my radio program today. I had a woman actually tell me, well, if you just dismiss all of the groping things, I think he's going to be good for family values.
Wasn't that Mrs. Lincoln that was asked at the night of the assassination?
That's right.
Except for that, how was the night? How was the evening?
It's truly amazing how they literally switched scripts. They were using exactly the same lines, which really infuriated me as a conservative, because when I said character made a difference, when I said, no, if his wife can't trust him, if he treats women this way, it's wrong. How can we trust him? I don't want somebody leading our country.
What would you do if you were his Dutch uncle and you could sit down, and you were really his minister, for example, and you were sitting down with him right now and say, how can I deal with the past? Not the future, but the past. I mean, I was playing around with the idea this morning, maybe he should just invite a nice old Spencer Tracy-like judge to sit somewhere in an office, and all the women who have problems with him in the past, come see that guy.
Now, you know what?
Try to figure out how to deal with him. Or should he just let it go?
No, here's the deal. I believe in forgiveness. I mean, I have stuff in my past that I've done that I'm ashamed of, and I've begged for forgiveness.
Anything illegal?
Oh, yeah. I believe, do Alexis Nexus on me, I believe that that there is forgiveness out there, and I'm perfectly willing to forgive Arnold Schwarzenegger, blah, 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 blah.
Well, shouldn't the women get a chance? Shouldn't the women involved have their day to decide whether they forgive him? Why didn't we forgive him for that?
To me, that's between him and the women. If I'm asked to vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger, what I need from him, I need to know what the turning point is in his life. I need to know, people don't change when things are great. They change when they bottom out.
Is that too recent?
Pardon me?
Is 2002 too recent?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to
isn't
see
it?
the turning point. I think it is. It didn't bother me. The stuff in the 1970s, okay, come on. Who wasn't doing that in the 1970s? 2 years ago, that bothers me. But I just want to know what the turning point in your life. What brought you to Jesus, Arnold? What changed you?
Well, you don't have to make fun of that transition because it's affected my life and probably yours too.
Absolutely, it has.
You don't have
I'm
to
a
make fun of
completely different
Jesus.
man.
I mean, I don't like that, but I seriously don't like that. But I think you're right about the main point you're making.
Right.
A bit sarcastically, which is you have to hit bottom, and I truly believe you got to decide that this isn't working before you try something better. Anyway, we'll be right back. This guy's a great guy, Glenn Beck. When I come to work really late, I listen to the guy coming into work tonight, Glenn Beck from working out of Philadelphia, the author of The Real America about the Heartland. Coming up, can the Bush administration sell America on its Iraq policy? It's getting hard. You're watching Hardball. We're back with more Political Buzz with radio talk show host Glenn Beck. He's author of a new book. I'm sure it's going to hit the charts. The Real America, Messages from the Heart and the Heartland. Let me ask you, sir, about our fellow broadcaster, Rush Limbaugh. And I guess this is about to die, this story, but it's certainly going to be remembered. And that is this guy lost a job, had to quit a job because of what he said about Donovan McNabb, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, suggesting that he had been basically hyped up in terms of his ability because of his race, because I guess the broadcasters wanted to build up an African-American as a quarterback since there are so few of them. Did he say it wrong? Did he say it...
No, I think
did he say something wrong, or did he say something right, wrong, or okay, wrong?
No, when he was talking about football, I think he's about 15 years late. But the point he was making was the media looks for successful black athletes, et cetera, et cetera. And in football, he was about 15 years late. But let me show you USA Today, the sports section, on the Thursday after they fired Rush Limbaugh for this comment.
Was he fired?
Pardon me?
Was he really fired? Was he pushed?
No. While that thing dissolved. I don't know how it dissolved.
Okay.
Here it is, a guy who's in a rowing. He's a black man, obviously, making headway. Akil Abdullah, doing things no black rower has ever done.
Right.
This is Sports Page, USA Today, 2 days after.
Unbelievable.
This is his point.
But isn't that normal? I mean, when Bobby Fischer won the chess master thing for the Russians, hey, an American can beat a Russian at chess. When the Americans beat the Soviet hockey team, hey, we beat them at their own game. What's so odd about that? I don't get it. At least the theory of it. I don't see anything wrong with suggesting somebody's just broken another barrier.
No, we're living in an age of political correctness that is excruciating to live through. In the book, I spell out all of the different things that are stopping us from being the real Americans, and one of them is political correctness. It is absolutely destroying us. It's not changing our hearts, it's changing our faces. We have to be able to communicate with each other. We have to be able to express ideas. There was nothing wrong with that idea other than it was outdated in relation to football.
What are the categories that can get you fired? Race, ethnicity, what else? Gender?
Yeah, I guess Hollywood, media, the commercialization of America. The fact that, and you know what, I think we saw this in the recall election. The fact that these dirty politics came in, basically what they were trying to do and say to the people of California is, everybody's the same. You can't trust anybody. Look at this guy. You think he's good? Nah, he's dirty. They're all dirty. Stay at home. Usually in California, about a third of the population shows up to vote. This time it was over 60%.
Right.
People were sick to death of it. They wanted their voice to be heard. And people that play partisan politics and the media and everything else want you to believe that your voice doesn't matter. Do
you think the word circus would have been used so many times if they thought a liberal Democrat was going to win?
Oh, I don't know. I think
the word circus was meant to diminish the significance of a Republican victory.
Maybe. I think everybody thought it was going to be a circus. At least I did. When it first started, and there's Mary Carey and Gary Coleman, et cetera, et cetera. It looked like a circus. But I got to tell you, there were many lessons to learn in the recall election.
You're great. I listen all the time. I think you're about 30 years older than you are. You're amazingly smart for such a young guy. Anyway, thank you. Glenn Beck, working out of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. His book is called The Real America, subtitled Messages from the Heart and Heartland. Good luck with the book. Glenn, join us again tomorrow night at 7 Eastern for more Hardball.